At 5:47 local time, an Israeli F-16, call sign Iron, raced through 20,000 feet over Tehran toward a Revolutionary Guard command center. Over 90 other Israeli F-35 Adir, F-16 Baraks, and F-15s were also descending on Tehran, ready to strike multiple targets across the city. The pilot's targeting pod painted a clean infrared signature on the building below. Textbook conditions for what should have been a routine precision strike. And that's exactly when his radar warning receiver lit up. Phased array lock, 8 kilometers, fire control track in under 3 seconds. He had about as long as a deep breath to decide if he was going to live through the next 10 seconds. He broke hard right, flares out, pure muscle memory. Against a radar-guided Tor M1, flares are useless. What saved him was the break itself. 7 Gs of violent maneuvering shifted the angle faster than the missile could correct. The missile streak passed. Close. Close enough to matter. Iron Lead was alive. Off-heading, wrong altitude, 8 JDAMs still on board, targets somewhere behind him in the smoke. Alive was enough, but here's what made that Tor M1 dangerous. It had already been destroyed. Satellite imagery confirmed it 2 days earlier, crossed off the list. What satellites couldn't see was a new crew returning to the wreckage, setting up in the crater, and waiting. They had learned something critical. If a site was marked destroyed, it was unlikely to be targeted again. It worked for 90 seconds. Over the Narmak district, an F-35 Adir detected the Tor's radar emission through its electronic warfare system and eliminated it. But the crew had already done their job. They transmitted bearing, altitude, and approach vectors of incoming aircraft using a civilian cellular network. The system hadn't been jammed. The data spread across the city. 12 kilometers west, an Adir rolled onto a financial headquarters tied to Iranian operations. The building sat tightly between 2 structures, one narrow approach. The pilot threaded it. A precision-guided bomb penetrated the structure. Elsewhere, F-15 crews timed their releases between incoming strikes, coordinating attacks with precision under pressure. Southeast of Tehran, a Bavar 373 air defense system activated. Short radar bursts had kept it hidden. Now, with targeting data from the earlier transmission, it went active. This system could engage targets at long range. Non-stealth aircraft carrying external weapons were especially vulnerable. The same Adir pilot who had eliminated the Tor detected the new threat. He retasked again. Within seconds, he engaged and neutralized the system. 2 air defense threats eliminated in minutes. But none of his assigned ground targets had been hit. Meanwhile, the strike package below faced a different problem. Smoke. 4 days of continuous strikes had filled the air with thick haze. Infrared targeting degraded rapidly with altitude. Precision guidance systems relying on image matching struggled to identify targets. Fallback to GPS reduced accuracy. And in dense urban areas, that margin mattered. Command centers were embedded within civilian structures. Precision wasn't optional, it was required. Below the smoke layer, reconnaissance drones provided real-time imaging. Without them, pilots would be operating nearly blind. But those drones were vulnerable, slow, unarmed, easily targeted. 22 kilometers west, an Iranian Yak-130 with infrared missiles was closing in on one. If the drone was lost, targeting across the entire sector would degrade instantly. The Adir pilot spotted the threat and moved to intercept. But in the gap he left behind, something else emerged. A garage door opened. A mobile ballistic missile system rolled out. A Ghadir 110, long range, capable of reaching deep into Israel. The crew worked efficiently. This wasn't improvised. They had rehearsed it. The missile could be ready to launch in under 30 minutes. Command redirected the nearest aircraft. Immediate priority. The pilot began reprogramming a bomb mid-flight. Single-seat cockpit. High workload. Multiple threats. He entered new coordinates manually while managing altitude, navigation, and communications. 15,000 feet. Shallow dive, narrow street, buildings on both sides, minimal margin for error, bomb released, Guidance fins deployed. Impact. The missile's fuel ignited. A massive explosion filled the street. When the view cleared, the launcher was gone. Target neutralized. But time and fuel had been spent. Above the smoke, an F-15 used radar mapping to generate updated targeting data. Coordinates were shared across the formation. Pilots adjusted in real time. The network compensated for reduced visibility. Over the mountains, the Adir intercepted the Yak-130 with an infrared missile. The drone survived. The strike package retained its eyes. The pilot had now eliminated 2 air defenses and an aircraft, but still hadn't hit his assigned ground targets. He turned back. The original objective still stood. Descending again, another threat appeared. A rooftop launcher. Infrared-guided missile. No radar warning, only seconds to react. The missile launched. Warning system triggered. He broke hard, released flares. The missile tracked, then detonated behind him. Second aborted run, fuel decreasing. One more attempt. He adjusted his approach, changed angle, used terrain and buildings for masking. Steeper dive, faster execution, 4 seconds of exposure. Bombs released, immediate pullout. No launch detected, impact confirmed, target destroyed. In another sector, pilots operated entirely on coordinates, unable to visually confirm targets through heavy smoke. Bombs were released based on shared data. Precision relied on systems beyond direct visibility. One aircraft encountered another missile launch. Evasive action again. Second pass required. Fuel margin shrinking. Final weapons released across remaining targets. Operations concluded. Aircraft turned west. Fuel levels critical. All weapons expended. Mission complete.